Okay, so we're talking right now, right? We're talking about Mesiras Nefesh in davening and prayer, right? We're talking about attaching your whole nefesh to pour it out, right, in prayer. And then he said, you take it to the next level, and you attach your nefesh, your neshama, to each particular aspect of each word within the prayer, right? So he said that the letters of the prayer, the body of the letters of the prayer is parallel to the nefesh. The nakudas, the vowels are parallel to the ruach, and the tone. That's what I'm translating. Tamim, what he calls tamim, but we don't really have tamim in Shemona Esrei, right? But so I'm presuming he means the tone, the way the way you pronounce the words and the sentences. So that's your neshama. All right. So let's just read these two paragraphs even though we read them last time. V'lachein ha'oved ha'amiti b'kavona ritzuya. You have it. V'lachein ha'oved ha'amiti b'kavona ritzuya. Therefore, a true oved Hashem b'kavona ritzuya with the desirable intent, meaning who wants to really make his tefillis ritzuya. Yechaven, he should have kavona lishpoich uledabek yachad b'tfilah, so he should pour forth and attach together with his tefillah kol hagimel bechinos, all the three layers, nefesh, ruach, neshama, asher nafshe kula behem, which his soul is composed of. Shebe'ez shemoitzim mipiv kol teva me'at tefillah, from the moment that at the time that he puts out from his mouth every word of prayer, sheyesh bo, that within each word kol hagimel bechinos niron, that within each word there are all the layers of the nefesh, ruach, neshama, be'oisyoseho, and the letters, and the kudoseho, and the vowels, of betameho, and the pronunciations. Yisatzim b'toiher liboy, he should strengthen with the purity of his heart, be'oitzem hachuka, in the ultimate yearning, lekasher, to bind, uledabek al yodo, and to cling through this word of prayer, mimato lemaila, from below to above, beseder madregas, through all the levels, nafshe berucha, attach his nefesh to his ruach, beruach benishmosa, in his ruach to his neshama. Right, so he's saying now nakuda that when this pouring forth that he's talking about is included in that is the attachment of clinging to the above, right? It's you're trying to lift up, like he said, meaning you're going up to Hashem. Korban, remember, korban means to come close, right? So the way you come close is you're aligning all of the oilamis and you're bringing them close. So therefore you're taking your lower self, which is the nefesh, and you're attaching it to your ruach. Again, I'm not sure if we fully appreciate what these things mean. I mean, I cannot close my eyes and say, oh, I'm going to attach my nefesh to my ruach, and my ruach to my neshama. I mean, these things are just words to me. Like, what do they mean? I don't know what they mean. Like, there's some layers of my neshama, and I take it. Okay, but do I have any sense of what it means? No. Just like I don't really have a sense of what my neshama means anyways. I don't know what it is. But, okay. But conceptually, the main idea that we need to take away is that we need to, it's the idea of yearning, right? The idea of really appreciating every aspect of each word. Not just like the general meaning of the sentence, but we really are praying with every letter, every word, every vowel. It's all part and parcel. Like I said before, remember, going back to the Anshek Nesa Gedola, right? That there is a meaning to every little particular detail of the entire Shemona Esrei. Okay, v'zehu ha'inyan shomer b'tikunei Zohar. Now, once again, he brings a proof from Zohar. On the pasuk, says, "V'amaskilim yazhiru k'zohar harakia." The maskilim, the enlightened ones, right, will shine like the brightness of the sky. And there are different drashas for who this pasuk is talking about. Gemara brings a few drashas, right? So Zohar now says, who are these maskilim, right? So he's now saying that the Zohar, the Tikkun Zohar is saying that the Maskilim are people inun de is behoin seichel leishtamoida bitzloisa. These are the people that have seichel to know through their prayer, meaning so they know how to daven. So the Maskilim that are shining like the shine of the sky, these are the people who are these Maskilim. These are the true daveners, the real daveners. Eich salka, that they know how the prayer goes up, but asvon unekude v'taime, through the letters, through the vowels, and through the tamim. Right. So that's his point. So we see that the highest level of prayer is to be able to know how to utilize not just again the general intent of the sentence, but not even just the general intent of the word, but every letter, every nekuda, and every intonation. Okay. V'shom b'daf ayin ches, and same is there in b'daf ayin ches. V'asher koyach b'hem lamed b'heichel hamelech, on a different pasuk that it says, who has the strength to stand in the palace of the king. Ba'amida d'tzloisa, the standing over here that the pasuk is referring to tzloisa, it's prayer. Kalila mikula, which is comprised of all of these aspects. Again, tame unekude v'asvan, intonations and vowels and letters. Over here the order is backwards. I'm not sure why. Okay, now we get to the Hagah. So the Hagah is really going back to that point where he's saying that part of the pouring forth of the prayer is to attach your nefesh to your ruach and your ruach to your neshama. So now let's see how he's going to expand upon this. Okay? So it says the Hagah in the footnote, yisuknu kol hagima ubechinois elu. So when a person prays like this, he is mesakein these three nekudos, these three bechinos, these three layers of his soul. So there is not just a highest, a more enlightened prayer that's happening. It's actually also a rectification of his own self, of his own being. So he's going to say it's an ala tshuva kind of a process. Okay, afim pogam chas v'sholom be'ezeh mehem. So if a person pogam, he defiled, he damaged any parts of his nefesh, ali de masa, whether through his action, which is parallel to the nefesh, or dibura, or his speech, or machshavois, or his thoughts, asher lo tovim, that were not good, v'goram chas v'sholom ali dehem, and as a result, he caused via these averos lerachek ulehafrid hahiskashrus shebenehem, to distance and to separate the binding, the unity that's between them, right? Meaning that, so when a person does averos, he separates between the nefesh and the ruach and the shoma, depending on which part of his nefesh he defiled, right? As I've written above in the first shar, Perak Yitches. So now, so for him, tefillah is also a way to reconnect those parts of his nefesh that he separated, that he broke away. Yisuknu lachser ulehiskasher kol echad bechaveiro. As a result, they're mesakin, they're fixed up to return and to bind themselves, each one bechaveiro she'olov kebatchila, that are to each one to the one above it as before. Shezeu shoyrish ikar inyan hatshuva, which is the shoyrish inyan ikar hatshuva, which is really the essence of tshuva, to bind back, to connect back all of the parts that were separated. Has extensively written over there in Shar Aleph. Now over there, if you remember, he said something different. He said that the way tshuva works is that the separation is not complete. If you remember that the highest level of the lower nefesh, right, is really the lower nefesh, the lower level of the upper nefesh, and that's how you are regrowing back the lower nefesh through reconnecting to the right. But he expressed it as going top down, not down up. And over here, he's talking about going back from down up, because you're attaching the nefesh to the ruach to the neshama, right? So it's different the way. So he's going to address that in a few paragraphs, right? So we're going to get back to that. But right now, right? But he's telling us an amazing thing. So even though when he's not talking about just anybody, somebody out there who sinned. He's talking about every person. There's no such thing as a person who, when he basically takes those 3 steps back and 3 steps forward, he's not no person that's an angel, right? So you're coming to Hashem with all your baggage. So every tefillah is a chance for a person to purify the baggage. So there's an added part of the connection that's happening, which if you think about it, it's pretty basic. We feel it also if we are inspired and we have that Shemon Esrei that's powerful, we feel like, oh, here we go. We refocused, we realigned, we feel that reconnection, even on our very simple, basic level, right? So it's not right, but now we just appreciate it on a more mathematical sort of way. Okay, V'zeu inyan hakosov, and this is what the pasuk is saying. And pasuk Yeshayahu says, "Hashmein lev ha'om hazeh," right? The prophet is screaming that the lev, the heart of this nation, Hashmein, got fat. Ve'oznov hachbeid, and the ears became heavy. Ve'enov hosha, and the eyes, I think, strayed. Hasha is a funny word, but it's moved aside. Okay? Ve'enov hasha. But pen yireh be'enov, they should see with their eyes, ube'oznov yishma, and hear with their ears, ulevova yovin, and their hearts should understand, v'shov, and they should return, v'rafaloi, and it will be healed to it. Right? So he's saying this. So the avera was that they fattened their hearts, they heavied their ears, and they strayed their eyes. What they should do is they should look with their, see with their eyes properly, right? Listen with their ears, and understand, contemplate with their hearts, and to return, and then they will be healed. Right.
Those are the healing steps.
Right. So should be safe with the crowd. So obviously you notice that in the second half of the pasuk, Hasidur, the Seder, is hafuch misidrei dereisha, is the opposite of the initial Seder, right? So it starts in the beginning, when by the sin it says heart, ears, eyes, and on the return it says eyes, ears, heart. Right? What's that all about? So obviously, the heart is a symbol of thought, right? Contemplation, right? V'aznaim, ears, hem klei shmias hadibur, they listen to speech, right? They're receptacles for ideas. You could listen to ideas through ears, right? V'ainaim hem klei hariyah, and of course, eyes they see things, right? So Leroy's, what do they see? What do they see? They see visual things that exist. You cannot see. You could figuratively, but plainly speaking over here, because the heart is already mentioned, seeing means I see this cup right here. I see physical, actual reality, right? So if you think about it, it says Vehem Hagimel Bechinas Neiron. This is being corresponding to the 3 layers of the neshama. The eyes are the nefesh, meaning the more physical part of it. They see the physical reality. The oizen hears the speech, and speech was said is connected to ruach. And neshama is where the machshava is, in the heart. Right? So therefore, b'chetei ha'odom, right, when a person sins, hema mistalkim imenu me'at me'at keseder. So they are removed from him one step at a time, right? Let's see, he's explained. Shemeis she'oilo al rayan ha'odom levad mitzad ha'nefesh lasois shum chet, right? So even at a time, so this is kind of interesting, but let's see. So even at a time when a person thinks to himself, oh, I'm going to do this avera, right? He hasn't done anything yet, but he's already started the planning process. So he says, Oz mistalekas bechinas and neshama teikav. So right away, neshama is already flies away. Because neshama is, if you remember from the first shar, neshama was not something that you are constantly zoicha to. You have to be on a very serious madrega to even have like drops of neshama connected to you, right? So as soon as some sort of impurity enters a person, the neshama is already disconnected, right? But a person usually starts his actions with the thought, I'm going to do this. That sounds like a good idea. And right away, the neshama is already missing. Oz mistalekas bechinas haneshama, so the bechina of the neshama goes away, taketh right away. He bechina gavoya v'nala me'od, because it is a layer that's very lofty and uplift, high, right? Ve'imchas v'sholem chota yoiser, but if a person sins even more, gam bechinas haruach mistalekas mimenu lagamri. So then even bechinas haruach begins to run away. Or it becomes defiled and destroyed. So then he is not only is the neshama removed, there is nothing even connecting him, because the ruach is the connective tissue between the nefesh and the neshama. So now he doesn't have that connection at all. Even if it's somewhere out there, somewhere, he has no connection to it. If the bechinas ruach is defiled. If he continues to sin even more, meaning and really puts the action into the picture, so so his nefesh is also defiled, or can even be completely cut off from being tied to the bechina, to the layer of the ruach, right? So when the prophet Yeshaya describes the Aveira, it begins with the heart, right? The fattening of the heart, which removes the neshama. Then then there is the problem with the ears, which is connected to speech, right? Which is connected again. So the ruach is defiled, and then, right, because they're not able to receive ideas through speech. So then something is wrong with the ruach. It's plugged. It's right. Fine. And then finally, the eyes, right? That's in the seder of the chet. So when a person does tshuva, then he goes the other way around. He says, now, he goes back to attach himself, not lahasik, to grasp these lost layers of his soul, from below to above. Hipuch miseder histalkusum tchila, the opposite of the seder that they were removing themselves. So tchila hu masilu bechinas hanefesh. First, he is zoiche to bechinas hanefesh, to restore his connection to the nefesh. Ve'achar kach bo v'shoyre aleho ruach haruach umiskasheres boy. Then he's zoiche to reattach the ruach and connect his nefesh to it. And then later come back the sparks of the light of the neshama. And then each one of them is bound to the other like it was proper. And so you could see the pasuk clearly how it flows. Now he asks this question. 1 second. Now in the first gate, in Parak Chav, we explained Shim Pogam or Hichris Chas V'Sholem Bechinas Nafshe. If a person defiled or he brought chorus to his nefesh, V'Hoyrid Kol Tasfiris Seho V'Mitzulei Sarah, and he lowered the 9 spheres, these 9 layers of the nefesh, V'Mitzulei Sarah, into the depths of evil. Al Yidei Tshuvosoy Hu Ma'atzil, so via the process of tshuva, which begins, if you remember, he said it begins with vidui, with words, which is the level of ruach, which is above the nefesh. Yeah. So huma'atzil, he kind of extrapolates umamshich, and he brings down the kedusha, the holiness, the or elyon, and the lofty light, mile'ela, from above, al bechinas neshmosoi tchila, first to his neshama, umimenu nimshach al ruchoi, then he brings down to ruach, ve'oz ruach mavhik meziv ha'or hagodol, and then the ruach shines with this extra brightness, Hanish Paolov Gamal Hanefesh, and then he's able to share that light onto the nefesh and grow it back, right? While yidezi himsal leis me'im keheran, so that's how the nefesh is then raised up from the bechinas hara, from the me'im kehara, from the depths of evil. Leis kasher bechinas haruach kamikodim, to tie itself back to the layer of ruach as before, right? And he says, so we described there that the same process applies when if the ruach is damaged, right? You also start from the level above it. Parts of a bechina, that in order to Harizal writes, in order to fix any kind of parts of or any kind of bechina, any kind of layer, you have to bring down these new moichin, these new intellects, these new lights from above. Derech kol partzufim, through all of the partzufim. I don't know what partzufim are, but basically, right, you have to reconnect from down, up, down, not from down, up. And you bring the lights down until that bechina, that layer that was damaged. Right? So that's the question, right? So that paragraph was a long paragraph to explain the question. Over here, the pasuk in Yeshayahu seems to be saying that the tshuva goes from bottom up, and we described before, and as the Rizal says in a few places, that it goes from top down. So now he explains. So Hainu rak kedei lahalis hanefesh me'im ke'atuma. Now let's go slow. Hainu rak kedei lahalis hanefesh. This is only to raise up the nefesh me'im ke'atuma, from the depths of tuma, shenishka b'soicha, which was drowned within it, or l'sakim pegimosa, or to fix its damage. So then, tzarich lahamshich kedusha ve'or elyon milmai lo lemata. Right? So then, meaning if you remember how he got to that theory in the first place, that this is how tshuva works, his question was, how is it possible to even for the tshuva process to start? Because if the whole, you can't even return to Hashem if you're in a state of tumah, right? You're gone. You're gone. How do you start even the process? So now he says the way to start the process of cleanliness, just to be zoicha, to be in the picture of parsha, is you gotta be able to nurse some light from some undamaged self, right? You gotta reconnect basically to your pure self, right? You cannot start. You gotta connect to something, right? Just like when a person is drowning, he cannot pull himself out unless he grabs onto something that's stable, something that can hold on, right? So that process, of course, has to be from top down, because if you damaged your nefesh, you can grab onto your ruach and start the process, right? So that's the process. To separate, to remove, and to destroy in the sparks of the fire. Hashal heves hazeh, of this flame, as a koiches atuma shenishka besoichem, that all of the tuma that was the nefesh was drowned in it. Oilu malois, or to fill pegimosa, the pagam, the damage that was done to it. Ula haloiso metohira, and to raise it, the nefesh up to purity. To such a degree that it is now be able to be connected back to the ruach.
So it's a
right?
two-pronged.
Well, right. And the same thing when we're talking about the layer of ruach shenifkam that was damaged. That in order to start the process, you got to go up to the place that's untouched above it. But first, once the basic layer of tshuva was completed, right? Seder knisosam acher ze begufa odam, but the reattachment of those nefesh, ruach, and neshama back to the body of the person, hu mimata lamala, can only be from below to above, right? V'zehu v'shov, v'shov. The pasuk says v'shov, and he returns. Perush k'shehoya meishiv kol bechina al mekoyma oz hoya nirpa. 1 second. When he was Meishiv, he returned the Bechina to its place, Oz Hoya Nirpa, then he was healed. He was healed. I'm not sure how he connects this to the lotion of the pasuk. I'm not sure. He wants to bring out that this idea is expressed in the lotion of this v'shov. I'm not sure how he does it. Okay, but basically, what we learned now is that tshuva has two layers. There's the beginning tshuva that goes from top down, and then there is the actual work kind of tshuva that goes from bottom up. Right?
And the way he connected the two is first you have to remove some of the tumor from the bottom, and then you kind of grasp the spark that comes from on top. I mean, that's...
No, by grabbing the spark that's on top, again, by tapping into the part of a person that hasn't been defiled yet, right? He could now start reconnecting to Hashem.
Right, okay.
Right? Because he can go back to say, again, think about on a very simple level. Again, if a husband and wife get into a fight, right? One of the ways to get back is you start thinking about something positive within the relationship that hasn't been damaged yet, right? And then once you establish that normal, you reconnect it on some level to rekindle that love, because you're connected to something that you shared some moment together and you remember it and you had that moment. Then you can start going back to the particular issue at hand which caused the rift and begin to work it out, right? But before you reestablish that connection, it's very hard to even begin to go straight talking about the problem at hand. You're just gonna start causing, you're just gonna rekindle the thing that brought the fight in the first place, right? So over here is the same thing. A person does an avera, right? He goes back to reconnect to Hashem, to some part of his nefesh and his ruach or neshama that hasn't been yet defiled, and he kind of stirs that kedusha up until that kedusha, begins to spill over to his nefesh. Once he spilled over to his nefesh, now if he wants to make that connection stronger, the only way to continue working on that connection is now to go back up from the nefesh to the ruach, right? So he starts the process of top down, and then he continues the process from down up. So it goes. You have to go back and forth. Okay. So that's and so tefillah is the connection of bottom up. Tefillah is the process by which a person is now able to connect his nefesh to the ruach and the ruach to the neshama. So even when he's got those damage, I guess not to that degree. Meaning, I guess properly, ideally, a person should do some tshuva before davening. Truth is, right? We say a pasuk in Ashrei, right? We say Shomer Hashem Eskol Oyhavov, right? Hashem guards, protects all those that love Him, right? Shomer Hashem Eskol Oyhavov ve'urushoyim ve'eskol Rishoyim Yashmid, and all the Rishoyim He will destroy, right? So they ask question, what do you mean? Maybe how could we say that? Aren't we just putting ourselves out? Who are we? So people say no. So person either I don't remember the lotion exactly of the poskim, but either at that moment person should have some thoughts of tshuva, or maybe before that a person has, or it's presumed that there is some tshuva happening before prayer, because or a Jew is perhaps even a deeper, maybe a Jew is always really in a state of tshuva, even subconsciously, even if a person did something wrong, subconsciously he wants to do the right thing. Every Jew wants to do the right thing. If he, if his desires overtook him, or his anger overtook him, or just his unenlightened state overtook him, to do these things which are inappropriate, which are not correct. But ideally, every Jew wants to do the right thing. Every person probably wants to. Why wouldn't we want to do the right thing, right? I mean, if you think about it,
deep inside everybody.
Right. If you think about it, deep inside, we're always kind of like in a state of tshuva. I mean, some people, I guess, are rashoyim to the extent where they've really internalized their behavior, their negative behavior, and they're kind of proud of it, and that's a problem, because that's a real rasha. But a regular person, even when he thinks, "Oh, this is the right thing," and even though he's doing the wrong thing, and he thinks, "Oh, but this is his philosophy, and he's going," but it's, again, all of our undertakings are constantly in a state of like, I'm trying to do the right thing, and this is the conclusion that I got to. Could be it's the wrong conclusion, and it could be because it's based on all my biases and all my desires and all my yetzer and who knows what. But at the end of the day, my whole life is, I want to do the right thing, right? And that's what when we say Shema, we Makabel Ol Malchus Shemayim, right? That's the whole reason why Shema is such an important mitzvah, because it's at that point of the day where we realign ourselves to saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and Hashem is one, and therefore everything it either takes you closer to Hashem or distances you from Hashem, and we want to be Echad. Hashem is one by us, meaning we direct all of our, ideally we direct all of our actions to Hashem. What the rest of the day is going to bring, we don't know. But at this point, we kind of pledge allegiance to the right thing. So anyway, so we see that there is this connection between tshuva and prayer. So probably, ideally, a person should do some kind of like some tshuva before davening, in order to be able to then, meaning to start with bottom up, top down, and then during prayer go back up down, right? Okay, so let's just start. Just to start the next parak. So now parak Yud Zayin. Parak Yud Zayin. Amnam, however, oid geish le'loikam milin lefnei ha'oived eloikim b'kedusha. I have some more words before the one who wants to serve Hashem with kedusha. B'bechina yoser pratis. In this bechina, in this aspect that is more, detailed. V'hu, and that is b'bechinas shoyrish haneshama, because till now we were talking about the three layers of the neshama, right? Which is nefesh, ruach, neshama. But there are levels even higher than this, levels that we have no real connection to. But I want to lay them. What we're saying is, I want to lay even those levels out. So he's going to take it now, even higher, right? He neshmosa l'neshmosa, which is the neshama of our neshama. Meaning, just like, right, the neshama of our body is our neshama, right? So the neshama has a neshama. And the neshama of that neshama, hanizker b'zohar v'nikris chaya. And that part of our neshama is called the chaya, right? And then he's going to say, v'odom harishon hisiga. So Odom Harishon, the first man, he had even connection to this neshama. Not only the neiron, nefesh, ruach, neshama. He had a connection to the chaya part of his neshama, the fourth level. And then there was another layer called yichida, unity, hanichlelas bo, that's included within the chaya. Even the highest level of the chaya is called yichida. So technically speaking, a person's nefesh can be subdivided into 5 parts, not 3 parts like we've been talking till now, but even 5 parts. So soid oilam odom kadmo, and that's the secret of the world of the first man, whatever that means. Ukamavor lemevin be'etz chaim soif shara moichin. So Odom Harishon as it's written in Hachaim that Adam Arishon Zocho lebechinas Chaya Yechida Ha'amitim b'mekoyim ha'ikri, these true layers of soul in their proper place. V'ayin Reish Gilgulim and other places. Okay, v'zehu ikar kavanosam, and that's the main kavana in the Medrash that they darshan the posuk toitzei ha'oretz nefesh chaya, right? That the earth should sprout forth nefesh chaya, right? Afilu nafshe shel adam harishon, afilu nafshe shel Mashiach. Okay, that the earth is putting out the nefesh of Adam harishon and nefesh of the Mashiach. Because this bechina, this layer of called nefesh chaya, hisoid knesses Yisrael eretz Hachaim elyono. That's the kind of the innermost part of the entire psyche of the entire nation of Klal Yisrael. I mean, at that point, I don't know, but at that point, meaning it's the Klal Yisrael is one unit. So the chaya, this level chaya yechida, is like the soul of the whole nation. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm kind of. Okay, we're gonna have to stop here. I see because he's gonna get sidetracked a little bit about this nefesh chaya business, and then he's gonna talk about how it connects to tefillah. Okay. So that's the next level within prayer, meaning there's a deeper level within prayer besides letters, nukudos, and tamim. There's going to be another level, which is going to be basically the whole reconnections, all the hidden names of Hashem that are hidden within the prayer, and all the different the ways the letters can be permutated, and etc., things that we have no connection to whatsoever. Okay.